Right. So thanks again, Christina. This is D.Lisa West. I'm a transformative life coach and a dream doula. I started just saying that out loud. I don't even know what
Ooh,
that means.
I love that. I need to know, what is a dream doula? Okay, you can't leave me hanging like that. What is a dream doula, and
You
do I
know
need
what
one?
a doula is for birth, right? Like if you're
Right,
a
they help you
birth
through the birth
doula, they come
process.
tell you like, breathe, relax, your baby's almost here. That's what I do for people and their dreams.
Ooh, that is fascinating to me.
Plus, you know, one of the things I do as a coach is I help people with their dreams that they
Mhm,
can talk about consciously. I also love to talk about dreams, the kind we have it while we're sleeping. So
mhm.
we can go into dream conversations forever. Like
Oh,
we're gonna talk about
100%. Well, yeah. So basically, you help guide people, I guess, through what's going on in their dreams and how it is applying to what's happening in their life.
Yeah. Christina, introduce yourself before we start talking about spiders, and then I'll talk about a spider dream.
Okay, so I am Cristina Spataro. I am a psychotherapist and relationship coach, and I care about dreams too, because they are the subconscious window into what we're worried about.
Right on. Or what's about to happen, or
Yes,
a great idea we can use. Many different
yes,
things have been found in dreams that were inventions, songs, books.
yes,
Did you know that the book Frankenstein was written after a dream?
yes. Mary Shelley had a nightmare,
She
and
did.
Frankenstein was born.
And then Frankenstein and the whole genre of horror books
Hmm.
was born from that dream. Also, in a dream was the idea that you need to have a hole in a needle to make the sewing machine work.
Oh,
This dream, this guy was
interesting.
trying to figure out like how to make a sewing machine work, and
Huh.
he had a dream where he was being killed by a group of cannibals. And in the dream, he died by being speared to death, but he noticed that the spears had holes in the tip. And so he woke up and went, that's it. I need holes in the tip of the needle. But
I love that. I love that.
one of my friends who's recently started to do a new job, and she's
Mhm,
recently let's say, I don't know, last 5 years,
mhm.
divorced after a long-term marriage. She was a stay-at-home mom, shocked her into like, oh my gosh, she lost her marriage, she lost her house, they lost all of their savings, and now she's reinventing herself. The other day she said, oh my gosh, tell me about this dream. I dreamt I was in this room and there were these spiders. There were spiders walking around the edge of the room.
Oh,
They were big. They were big spiders, like, and then there was this little girl in the dream who picked up one of the spiders and carried it toward her. And she woke up screaming because she's afraid of spiders. And I said, huh,
oh,
I wonder what's been skirting around the edges of your life.
oh, I like
And
that.
she's like, oh, yeah. And we decided, because I tell people, I can't tell you what your dream means. The only one
Mhm.
who knows what your dream means is
Is
you.
you.
It's
That's
dream
perfect.
language. It's like your psyche is talking to
Mhm.
you in
Yeah.
this different language. And so what does the
Mhm.
spider mean to her? She decided it meant power, and that she'd been
Oh,
afraid of spiders her whole life. But in this dream, she also thought, I'm the little girl. I'm the little girl in the dream, and I'm the woman standing on the couch screaming. And this little girl in
wow.
me is bringing this spider power to give it back to me.
I love that.
Isn't that cool? And
That
all I
is
had to do was
seriously
say,
cool.
well, what in your waking life reminds you of something scary that's you're
Yes,
skirting the issue, or is
that's just
going to the,
skirting the issue. That is so perfect. And really, Ms. Dream Doula, you've actually got at the heart of what dreams are. Because, obviously with my psych background, I've read, Freud's interpretation of dreams and all this stuff. But at the end of the day, you're right. A dream is what it means to you.
yes,
So something that may not have the same symbolism for somebody else has symbolism for you. And
yes.
you know me, I gotta go movie.
Okay,
So,
let's hear it.
so there was a movie. Actually, I could go two movies. I got a double one for dreams. There's a lot of material in dreams because, like you said, I mean, see, the thing that makes dreams so powerful is that when we're awake, we're doing a lot of filtering.
Yeah.
But when we're dreaming, we're like asleep, we're in this relaxed state. We're not filtering. So our brain is just letting it all hang out. Now, granted, there's other stuff that the brain is trying to figure out, but you need to look at, especially your nightmares. What are your nightmares trying to tell you? What are you, like you said, what are you skirting around in your life? What is concerning you? So there's an old movie, 1940s, Ingrid Bergman, Gregory Peck, called Spellbound. And the premise is he has amnesia and he can't remember who he is, but he's been having a reoccurring dream. And oh, it turns out this reoccurring dream, all this, and the symbolism is weird. There's people playing cards, there's a wheel rolling. I mean, I think if I recall correctly, the dream imagery was created by the legendary Salvador Dali for this film. And it was incredible. And the idea is that, and of course, in the movie, Ingrid Bergman plays a psychiatrist who falls in love with him and is trying to help him. And, you know, so of course she's interpreting dreams and stuff like that. And so the idea is, it turns out the dream represented this thing. He's traumatized, and all, I don't want to spoil the movie, but all the symbols make sense when they're talking about it and what it means.
That is so cool.
Yeah, it is really
Yeah.
cool.
So do you pay attention to your dreams?
Oh, yes. I even write my dreams down.
I've been writing my dreams down for at least 40 years now.
Yes. So I also have been writing my dreams down because it's funny, I'll talk to people and some people will tell me, because I will ask clients about their dreams and stuff, especially for those I know having a lot of anxiety issues or stuff. I will ask them about their dreams. And some people will tell me they cannot remember their dreams at all. Like they have no memory.
People love to tell me that too. And here's what I say. Everyone dreams. Usually 2 hours a night is spent in dream time. And if you remember, you'll remember a dream if it's really loud or scary. It'll wake you up like a nightmare. Or you can train yourself in the first 10 minutes of waking up to write down your dream. After the first 10 minutes, poof,
it's gone. That's
gone.
where, exactly. That's where I started getting into the habit of writing about it, like when I would first wake up, because then it would be the most salient. But it, like you're right, the longer you wait, the more it's gone. Also, I forget, I think if you've dreamt, like it kind of, we go through the cycles of sleep, like REM and everything. So if you do wake up like right after, then you're going to remember better. And depending on where in the cycle of sleep you dreamed, that's what you may or may not remember. But I have always remembered my dreams. They've always been incredibly vivid. And they didn't have to be nightmares. Like it's just ordinary dreams, like, wow. You know, like that whole idea that you dream in black and white, or you dream in color. I didn't even know dreaming in black and white was a thing because I've always dreamt in color. So
I always thought that was an interesting question as a kid. And I don't think anyone asked that anymore that didn't grow up with black and white TV.
Yes,
Because
exactly.
we had this reality, like everything's in black and white, like the old movies, or then you got color. But younger people now, they always have color.
They always have color
and music.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think so. I've been like, it's like you, I've been writing my dreams down most of my adult life, just because they are so vivid, and I know that I want to understand, I want to remember it later in case I need to process anything. And then also, because I'm also a writer, a lot of times I've had dreams, I swear I'm dreaming a plot. So I've actually like possible story ideas. Like some dreams are like I have this thing where I wrote it out because I'm like, this could be really good. Like, I like, I'm seeing it, the truth, like this, I like almost the character dynamics and stuff like that. And and me being a movie buff, I'm like, okay, the hero was like a Michael J. Fox type. So
I love it. I love it. Well, Salvador Dali, because you mentioned him in about that other movie, he was a prolific dreamer. He would dream on purpose. He would go into that liminal state between awake and asleep in his art studio. And what I read about was he had a big key, a big metal key and a big metal plate. And we'd hold the metal key and sit in a chair in his studio until he drifted off into sleep so much that the key would drop onto this plate and wake him. And then he would draw in his sketchbook what he was dreaming about.
Wow.
Now, Thomas Edison also used that same technique. And by the time he passed away, he had more than 1,000 patents. And he would be in his workshop thinking about an invention or some kind of conundrum. And he would have a couple of ball bearings in his hands and buckets under them. And he'd sit in a chair, and when he fell asleep and the ball bearings would fall out of his hands, he would write down what he was dreaming about. And that way, both of those famous fellows tapped into the power of dreams when they're sort of awake and sort of asleep. They didn't have to wait night after night after night to have a dream about it. Yeah. I was thinking
interesting
about a dream I had when I was pregnant with my first child. And I had just had an argument with my husband the night before where we were talking about names. And I was like, oh, I want to name her something really unusual, like Indigo, or maybe Terra, spelled like the earth. And he said, how about Susan or Sharon or Molly? I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Are those ex-girlfriends' names? And as he stuttered back his answer to me, he said, yeah, but they're really nice names. And I said, no way in hell are we naming any of our kids after an ex of yours. No, 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 no. Then I went to sleep that night and I had a dream. In the dream, there were men in my house with black shoes on, and I'm in labor, and I'm thinking, this is wrong. I'm having midwives, they're women. What's going on here? And suddenly, as dreams morph, I'm looking at a baby. I've had a baby, and I'm looking at this little girl child baby. And then she turns into a 12-year-old, and she says, I want you to name me Molly. And I said in the dream, I'm like, oh, honey, Molly's such a boring name. And she put her hand on her hip and she wiggled a little bit and she said, I want to have a boring name. And then bonk, I woke up. I wrote the dream down in my dream journal. And when I went into labor and had the kid in my living room, the firemen were called because I was further into the labor than the midwives thought would be safe. So there were men in my house with black shoes on. And when when they left and my husband came and the midwives came and they're like, had the baby 15 minutes later, and the midwives are yelling, talk to your baby, talk to your baby, talk to your baby. And I said, as I turned around and looked at this infant, it was exactly the scene, Christina, exactly like a still from a movie. The image of the baby was the image in my dream.
Wow.
And I heard myself saying, hi, Molly, because she told me to name her Molly.
You told you to name her Molly. That's what she said.
It was so amazing and so interesting that I really wanted to repeat that and wanted to know the name of my next kid, but I never got a dream about the name.
I think Molly was just determined.
Pretty funny dream story.
Wow.
Yeah, you never know what kind of wisdom is coming to you in your dreams, and are you listening?
Yes. What kind of wisdom is coming to you, and are you listening? I love that. Because again, dreams are like so many levels, right? And you and I are both spiritual, and I definitely feel that there are moments where our dreams are spiritual communication.
Right.
Especially like I've had a lot of dreams like of people I've lost. And then I dream about them, and it's like, and it's always a similar kind of thing. Like they're like letting me know they're okay. And it's like, I'm so happy to see them and I'm hugging them. And you can't tell me that's not real.
Oh, 100%. I totally believe that we can see people who have passed over in dreamland.
Yes. Yes. I
And
100% believe that.
yeah, so it's hard to explain to people, but there's this level of consciousness that we're in right now. We're talking, we're thinking, we're awake. And then there's a level of consciousness where you're meditating and you're just kind of
Yes.
spaced out,
Yes.
you're one with everything. If you get to that point of quieting your mind, then there's a level of consciousness in different dream states. And there's even a level of consciousness in the dream state that people call dream yoga. So you can actually get to a place of the dream where you're doing yoga inside you're meditating inside the dream state, and you're getting into the one with everything. I haven't ever done that, but it sounds really interesting.
That does sound really interesting. Not quite where to get there,
So
but that's
different
interesting.
levels of consciousness and different levels of conscious reality are there in all the different states of being awake or not being awake. And Deepak Chopra said, life is a vivid dream. No, wait, life is a lucid dream in a vivid reality.
Oh, I like that.
So I'll say that again because I flubbed it. Life
Please
is a
do.
lucid dream in a vivid reality.
Okay, you got to still make that the title of this video.
Okay, yeah, because what is, are we dreaming this? Because some people say this is a dream too.
Yes, that is true.
Our awake
That
life
is
is a dream.
Right. No, that is true. I've heard people say that this is like a dream and our reality and stuff. I mean, look at the whole Matrix thing, all that trippiness is our reality, is it all a dream? There was even a movie, and I'm so mad, I can't remember the title of it, but it was seriously trippy like that. It was layers upon layers of what was real, what wasn't. So it was all about, and I think it was based on like a famous author, and I'm mad at myself for blanking on the title. But it started out with this guy dreaming, and then he dreamed this whole world, and then his thing, and then he kept dreaming these worlds. Then at the end of the movie, one of his minor characters in his dream was this girl, and it turns out it was all her dream.
Oh, I love that. Now when you remember, you'll have to tell me what that dream is.
Like, I don't remember the title of the movie, but it was like a movie I saw years ago with my mom, and we were watching, and you'd see like one of those movies on the weekend, sometimes they would show like these movies, and I remember watching that with her, and it's like so trippy, like dream into dream.
Yeah.
I want to know the name. The problem was the brain is so amazing. The reason we will remember things, I remember things depending how we've encoded it. So like I was into the movie and the premise, but I don't think I fully, like the title, I didn't really encode at the time, and that's why it didn't make it into long-term memory. That is the key of why we remember things and why we don't. Basically, think of it like your attic. As you put stuff in boxes, if you've labeled your boxes properly, you're going to find it. If you've just tossed it in there, it's just in an unlabeled box, like all the crates in Raiders of the Lost Ark. You will not find it.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea. Well, you might find it when you're not looking for it, though.
You might. It depends. Like if you look through all the boxes, maybe somewhere deep in there you'll find it. But that's why if you do want to really remember something, you've got to pay attention to it. Because if you pay real attention to it, then it will get encoded. And it's interesting because sometimes people will upload on YouTube like old movie theme songs or TV show theme songs and stuff. And the funny thing is, like certain actors or actresses or TV shows from my childhood, like those titles, those names I will remember, because as a kid, that constant repetition, oh, it's time for this. And so I'm hearing the theme song, I'm seeing the flash of the actor's name, I'm seeing the flash of the name of the show. So all those years of that being imprinted month after month after month, now that is permanently encoded in there.
I agree. I was just thinking, I can hear the theme song to a cartoon that I watched as a kid.
Yes.
It was called Underdog. And I just heard this the other day. underdog to save the day.
Yes,
Like, okay,
because
I guess that must have been the beginning of that cartoon. And I see like
yeah.
a little cartoon dog, puppy maybe, and
Mhm,
he had a cape.
mhm.
I guess he could fly.
Yeah, but
I'm gonna
think
have
about
to
it. So
look that up now.
you saw that over and over and over again, and
Mm-hmm,
that's how it got encoded in there. So that's
mm-hmm.
why there's certain TV shows that have gotten encoded in my brain. Like I can see the credits, I can hear the theme song because again, I watched it enough that yeah, it made it into long-term memory, which is when it's really sad the things we have stored in that mental attic.
And well, and to get back to the dream concept, sometimes we're dreaming things that aren't important messages from future children, like what to name
Yes.
them,
Yes.
or a novel idea for your next book. Sometimes
Right.
we're just dreaming. It's like sweeping up our house.
Yes.
It's like there's a
Yes.
part of a movie you watched, or there's this show that you watched and you're dreaming that and the characters are in it. Then you go in here, then you're doing this, and it's like, oh man, what did that dream mean? That dream just meant that your mind was cluttered up and you're like
Yes.
organizing stuff.
Yes. I love that you said that because that's actually what I was looking for before. The idea that you do have these different layers. You have the dreams that I think that are very spiritual and about connecting to a future child or a lost loved one. And then you have the dreams like, yeah, the brain's just sweeping up in there
Exactly.
because we get a lot of stimulation throughout the day. A lot of stuff is going on and the brain's trying to process and think, okay, what do we keep? What are we letting go? What are we dumping here? What matters? Because when you think about it, everything, what we hear, what we see, what we feel, what we taste. This is why mindfulness is so important. We're getting information and our brain is encoding all that information. And as the amazing supercomputer that it is deciding what to keep and it's
Right.
deciding what to let go of. And I love the idea of the mental sweep. Like, okay, this wasn't really necessary. Yeah, okay, yeah, I know you watched that TV show and that's in there, but we don't need to really hold on to
Yeah,
that
like
too much.
right.
We'll just sweep that away.
Right.
But the thing is, even in that, like the guy who figured out the hole in the needle, I mean, you're being devoured by cannibals. Obviously, that what some of that was some mental sweeping, but within that was the idea for that sewing machine that I need a
Or
hole in that needle.
my theory is this, Christina, and you can disagree with me if you so desire. I think the dreams that are really loud or really bright, like nightmares or recurring
Mhm.
dreams, are that way so that you're certain to remember them. So
Oh,
maybe this guy really needed the answer to how to make this sewing machine, and he got it because he scared himself awake out of that dream so he could remember it.
oh, I like that. So that he could remember. I like that.
Because even people that say, I don't remember my dreams, you could say, when I was a kid, I had this recurring dream, and they're like, ooh, I had one of those too.
Mhm.
I've had a nightmare. Ooh, I had one of those too. Well, yeah, you
Yeah.
remember your dreams if they're big and loud and
Big
scary.
and loud and scary. And so something we need to remember. So maybe within the nightmare is stuff we don't need to know about. Maybe within that is something we need to know. Like in the movie I was saying, Spellbound, where it was a nightmare, it was a reoccurring nightmare, but within that was actually the plot to a murder that happened that he needed to remember.
Oh, yeah, cool.
So
Spoiler alert.
he
Spoiler
needed,
alert.
spoiler alert. So he needed to remember that he had witnessed this event.
Right, right. Similarly, if someone has like, there's common nightmares. You're
Mhm.
driving a car and the brakes don't work. Someone
Yeah.
is chasing you. You're chasing someone. Um, you can turn all those things around in your dream while you're having it and
Mhm.
say, you could turn around and say, why are you chasing me?
True.
Or
Very true.
or when you wake up the next day, you could say, what am I running from in my life?
Mm. And therein lies the idea of, is it the idea of taking control of your dreams?
Yeah, being a lucid dreamer, meaning
Mm.
you're dreaming while you're having
Hmm.
a dream.
Yes.
There's a couple ways you can do. You can know you're dreaming while you're having a dream and just observe it like a movie and just go,
Yes.
this is cool. I'm having a
Mhm.
dream.
Having a dream.
Or you could be a participant in that dream and you can change it.
Yes.
So
It
you can
is
say, oh,
true.
I'm having a dream. I'm falling down the cliff. Wait a minute, I can fly. It's a dream.
Yeah, oh, I've totally done that. I
Have
have
you?
totally done that. Yes.
Tell me more.
And so yes, and again, I've had totally done that because do have vivid dreams, and then there's a moment where I do recognize it. So I've totally done that where I've turned it around, like I did in front of me. Wait a minute, I can fly, and I actually find myself flying in the sky, and it is seriously cool. Like there was a dream where I was like falling, and all of a sudden, then I'm suddenly flying. I'm like, okay, I'm liking this. I can fly over this building, and I can go over here, and I'm like, so I completely turned it around. And then there was another dream I had one time where someone was giving me a bad time, and I turned it around and I turned it into a positive conversation where I actually got feelings I needed to get out.
Nice.
Yeah. So, or you
Nice.
ever have those dreams where it's a really good moment and then it goes by too quickly, so you want it back?
Yeah,
Like I want
absolutely.
to rewind the tape on that.
Well, my first lucid dream, I didn't know that it was called that. I was a little tiny kid. So before I went to school, I was probably 4 or 5.
Mhm,
And I dreamt that I was walking outside in the rain. I grew up in Seattle, so this was a typical
mhm,
rainy day. I'm walking in this place that's real in daytime. I'm under my auntie's house. There's rain dripping down underneath her deck, and I can see like a skim of like an inch of water everywhere on the
mhm,
ground. I'm walking and splashing, and I
mhm.
look over my shoulder and I see this big barrel with 3 guys in it. It's rub-a-dub-dub, 3 men in a tub. And they're big, hairy, real guys. And they're like, one guy's scrubbing his back with a scrubber, and another guy's smoking a cigar. And the guy smoking the cigar says to me, "Hey, little girl, come over here." And in the dream, I said, "No." And he said, "Yes, you have to." And I put my hands on my hips in my little girl dream, and I said, "I don't have to do anything. This
Mhm.
is my dream. And if I want to, I can just wake up."
There you go.
He said, "No, you can't." And I said, "Watch." And I closed my eyes really tight. And when I opened them, I was in my bed. And I said,
Wow.
"This is so cool. I can't wait to go back and go neater, neater, neater." So I went right back. I closed my eyes as quick as I could to go back into sleep, but I didn't get back into that dream.
Mm,
And I
that
didn't
is really
realize
cool.
until recently what a powerful little human I was, to think in a
Yes.
scary dream that I could control it and wake up.
Yes. And I think it's a reminder to us that we're much more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. How many times do we find ourselves in a situation in life? Like how many times have you had a client or I've had a client where they're saying, no, I can't change that. Oh, I can't change this thing in my relationship, or I can't change this job, or I can't. And we're like, why can't you?
Yeah,
What is preventing you from making that change?
right on. Yeah. And that's going to be our next topic. We're going to talk
Yes.
about relationships and holidays.
Oh,
Because the
yes. So
holidays are
stay
coming up.
tuned. Holidays are coming up. So we're
Right
going to be
on.
talking about that, relationships and holidays. Get
We'll talk
ready.
about that soon. But
So,
this is it for now in
yes.
Dreamland. Bye,
Yes,
everybody.
that sounds perfect. Bye, everybody.